And we are live, everyone. What's going on, people? Another really, really exciting topic. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be interesting, and it'll be it'll be fun. It'll be a fun continuation of the conversation that we had previously. It is a certified synth reality classic. Interactive selling. I think this is going to be a standard one. Jordy, I appreciate being over in Twitchland. If you're on LinkedIn, okay, see some people out there, feel free to drop a comment, ask a question. I got chats all over the place. So if I'm looking around like a crazy man, it's because I got people messaging me all over. So super excited. Really, really looking forward to chatting about this one today. This is a second iteration of interactive selling for retail, so it's going to be a good one. This is extremely recent. And we're going to recap what interactive selling is and why it's important. But we're also going to recap what we talked about last time. So if you missed it, that's cool. We're going to go through that one really quick, and then we're going to talk about this new one that came out. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Rob Petrosino. I come live from Synth Reality Land, and are going to chat about a bunch of different things related to emerging technology overall, spatial computing, digital twins. I'm on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn Live, all over the place. So if you are following, I'd love to have you, keep you around. Drop a like, drop a comment, find me somewhere. I'm pretty easy to find and access. My whole role and initiative in this world is to educate others about technology, push organizations to adopt it, and be an early adopter of tech. You know, it's hard to go and do innovation alone. It's hard to chat about ChatGPT. It's hard to talk about AR and spatial computing, but that's why I'm here. Consider me a Sherpa in your journey. So with that, we are going to talk a little bit about interactive selling, what that means, why it's important, what this blend of the real world and digital world is, and how it's really, really important. So with that, we're going to transition over to the screen share. Love the screen share. I'm in your lower left, no matter where I am. Hopefully I'm close and near and dear to your hearts. So what is interactive selling, and why is it really important to technology? Okay. Traditionally, selling came, we're going to use the Sears example because it's one of my favorites. Traditionally, selling came from purchasing something out of the Sears catalog and it was shipped to you directly. Okay. Then they transitioned to being in store. Right? Sears, massive stores. I used to go to them when I was a kid. After that, there's this development of online and e-commerce, okay, which is fantastic. Online and e-commerce was great, and that's cool. All right, for those of you who don't know, that alert box, I'll move it up top. Thank you for following there. Darkcaster, appreciate that. E-commerce solution was really, really a fantastic, development, and really revolutionized how people purchase things. Right, I can go online, I can search for what I want. Everyone's done e-commerce before. Amazon, Sears, everyone underneath the sun. Amazing. Blew us out of the water, right? When you think about the progression of individuals and their shopping ability. Then we look on this e-commerce aspect. It has grown and grown and grown and started to blend in emerging technologies and implementing that technology so that others could have a really unique experience when it comes to shopping. Okay. Now, on the emerging technology side, I always put myself in this bucket because I am one for machine learning, AI, AR, VR, all the R's underneath the sun, as well as the implementation of really interesting technology into these experiences. So when we look at that, innovative technology is starting to pull e-commerce forward. Okay, and the big pull that's happening is from interactive selling. So what does that mean? That means I'm taking an experience that's traditionally geared towards selling a product or service and bringing it forward by enabling it through technology. Okay, and that technology could be 3D product configurators, it could be an AR filter, it could be blended in-store online shopping experiences, right? The use of mobile omni-channel experiences that are blending in ChatGPT, right, or machine learning or suggestions. This is really where we get this beautiful crossover of e-commerce and brand new technology that's out there. This is near and dear to my heart because I think some of the retailers that are out there are continuously pushing the boundaries. We're going to talk about two different ones today. We're going to brief on one that we talked about last week. If you didn't catch the one earlier this week, if you didn't catch that one, go back, find that post. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube Live. It's on Twitter. It's also on LinkedIn. But it's a really, really interesting use case. So we're going to brief that one, and then we're going to dive into a brand new one. But what we're talking about is this blend of the physical and digital world, this blend of traditional selling process enabled by technology, and why it's important for you, the buyer, right? Because when you go into a store, you may not want to talk to someone. And if you can be digitally enabled, that may be a good thing for you to actually purchase for the retailer, and it may drive up brand affinity. With that, let's move forward. We're going to talk about quickly something that we dug into a lot last week. Cartier launched the Looking Glass, which was a blended in-store physical experience that also tied in a digital experience. What they actually did was put a physical 3D printed ring on your finger when you held it underneath this lamp. It's a very large lamp with a lot of different pieces of technology underneath it, including computer vision lenses and cameras. When you put that ring on, you would look at the iPad, and it'll actually show you 13 different rings that are available. They ranged in price $3,000 to $100,000, but you could actually swipe on that iPad and see a synthetic hand and synthetic shopping experience. Cartier boasted that they are going to be able to do a couple different versions of this, whether it's rings, cuffs, obviously watches would be interesting, but they also talked about how it drives down their carbon emissions. Driving down those carbon emissions ultimately helped them say that this was a good technical investment and allows them to unlock a brand new shopping demographic who may not have the interest in traditional shopping styles. So we're going to move over to our new one, a really, really exciting one. It is from Dior. Okay, the Interior of Dreams. So for those of you who don't know, this is a massive massive art piece. It was done by a very famous artist and was deployed for Dior and their store experience, and then was converted into an interactive experience with Meta Spark. So Meta Spark, for those of you who don't know, AR platform that is connected to Meta that allows you to design an augmented reality experience and then publish it across Meta owned social media channels. So that includes Facebook and Instagram. The interesting thing about this experience overall is that they're taking interactive shopping and moving it away from a shared device like you saw with Dior and moving into a personal device. Personal device experiences are really interesting because everyone has a smartphone, right? Majority of people out there have a smartphone, maybe not everyone, but a majority have a smartphone and are shopping at Dior. So it's a very interesting way to get people to interact with the store overall and have a really unique experience. So what they did was they created an immersive experience, and they used a couple different pieces of technology within MetaSpark. And we're going to talk about each one of these pieces of tech because it is valuable for us to kind of walk through those and chat about each one. So what those pieces of tech are is plane tracking, particle systems, and target tracking. Okay, so let's talk about plane tracking first. Plane tracking is the ability for a device, could be Android, could be iOS, to detect a plane and from that plane detection render an experience that is interesting, right? Or a digital experience that's on top of it. So that could be any flat surface. That could be a wall, could be a ceiling, could be a floor, could be a tabletop. All of that is plane detection. The device itself knows that it is detecting a plane. Very, very good piece. We're going to transition now from that plane detecting to target tracking, and we're going to leave particle systems for next. So target tracking is when you use your device, your personal device or shared device, it just depends, to find a specific target. And that target could be a photo, it could be a 3D object, it could be a QR code, etc. And use that as a tracking mechanism to render a digital experience on top of it. Okay, really, really good to know. Really interesting, portion of the experience is done through target tracking because it blends completely what the experience actually can be. I can put targets anywhere. We're going to talk about a retail situation. We'll talk about warehouse manufacturing, B2B, and what you can do in target tracking on that side. But this target tracking is something everyone's really used to because QR codes in restaurants. Everyone knows, hey, if there's a QR code, I can probably capture some information or render some information to myself, whether it's a menu or a product description page, etc. It has become a cultural norm. Awesome. So that's target tracking. I can pick a target and I can render an AR experience or VR experience on top of it. Let's go over to particle systems. Particle systems is a little bit different. We're going to actually reference this upper right hand corner for particle systems. What that means is taking particles, okay, particles being different object or different digital objects, and having them react to the world around them. Really, really interesting. So as in the Dior experience, these stars fall from the ceiling. They actually hit some of the planes and bounce off of them and roll off the sides and interact with the real world around it. That's really, really cool. So that's what particle systems does, and enables you to add particles, right? Digital small objects, and have them interact with the world. We're going to hit a couple of these other notes, images here so we can express them a little bit more. This one, the upper left hand, is actually a screenshot of the Metaspark platform. So what this actually does is you can segment different portions of the experience. This is actually a drawing. These all are drawings of Antillated Dreams, and animate them. So you can grab some of these, you can turn that person's head or rotate these wings or move their arms to some degree without ever actually having to rig the experience overall. Metaspark is smart enough to be able to kind of move those in between. The other one that I wanted to chat through is this gray panel here. This is how Metaspark is actually developed. So as you click and as an interaction happens from one portion to the next, it actually triggers different experiences. So an animation can trigger different particle systems to launch or different visual images to launch. Even that target or plane tracking, right? When you have that trigger, different things will happen, and that's how you can see this kind of spaghetti interaction experience kind of load and be seen in a visual format versus like traditional code that's going to be written slightly different. So what is the experience? So in Paris and Seoul, what they actually were able to do is users would come into the store, open up Meta or Instagram, use a specialized filter, and see the ceiling become the Antillated Dreams. Okay, and it was a motion animated experience where they would be able to see the whole ceiling come to life, different characters, different information, different pieces of the drawing pop up and show in one of their rooms, which is really, really cool and quite interesting, and a really interesting way of doing it. You can see two different versions on the bottom here, which is really, really nice. You get that a little bit higher fidelity, and it actually, I agree, Jordan. It is pretty ridiculous how beautiful it looks. So this would actually come down from the ceiling and appear. This is a target-based one, right? So as they pointed this target that was on the ceiling, it would actually come down from the sides through your phone. right? So as my phone kind of watched it, right, as I moved my phone around, it would image motion track and see what's actually happening. And then the other one that they did was this particle system. And the particle system's interesting because it allows you to shop real world while having an AR experience. So I could actually shop directly and look at the different fragrances, different look at the AR products, and go through the shopping experience with this particle system that's overlaid on the top of it, which is really, really cool because it interacts with someone's real world and digital world all at the same time. Yes, someone 100%. If you're not in the Twitch chat, right, and you're on LinkedIn, you want to come over to Twitch, come over to Twitch, hop in my profile, get on in here, follow. The stream's going to be a little bit better quality, and we're having a nice interactive chat. So come on down. Plus, it'll be a fun one. Break out of that LinkedIn box a little bit. So someone could 100% do this with like the Sistine Chapel as well. I'm scanning a marker as I hold my phone to the ceiling. The Sistine Chapel could go from blank to sketch to painting, and you could see, the artists painting the ceiling on the scaffolding laying on their back, all the way through the final production. But yeah, so anything can quite literally be enabled through this experience. These types of AR experiences, they can be educational, they can be ROI driving. But what this does is it creates, in this retail experience, in this interactive selling experience, it creates brand affinity. Okay, which means people are more interested and more excited about the brand that they're going to be going through because they're seen as technical leaders. And it also drives a memory-inducing experience. So this is when you go through AR, medically proven that you remember the experience for a longer period of time and more accurately. Okay, that's really good for training. We're going to put that off to the side and talk about that in the warehouse. But for branded experiences, I'm driving greater affinity and creating memories with my brand to my ideal customer in store. That is the type of thing that you actually really see as exciting for a brand to go through and a brand to experience. So this is, one of the two interactive selling experiences that we've talked about. We're going to continue this series. We're going to keep talking about them as they come up. But this Dior one is pretty different from the Cartier one, and the reason for that is because it goes from a shared device to a personal device. We still have that usage of augmented reality, AR, right, where I'm seeing digital objects in the real world. One's on my hand as a ring, the other one's in the store around me. But what they are both doing is they're driving a memorable experience for the user. Right? It's educational to some degree. I can see what this ring looks like, or I can understand what this cosmic experience drawing would look like in 3D. But it's also driving that memory. And that's one of the most important things. So if you're interested in this stuff and this is exciting and meaningful and passionate and driving for you, reach out. Reach out to me on Twitch, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, however way you feel comfortable. Happy to chat with you about details. Or if you see an experience that's super interesting, I'm all for you telling me about it. Let me know. We'll highlight it on stream. We'll call you out. And if you're interested in being on stream, feel free to reach out. Happy to chat with you. I've got a pretty massive network, so always excited to chat with other ones. That being said, that is all for today. I'm Rob Petrosino, futurist technologist and overall great guy, and this is the Synth Reality Podcast. I will see you on the other side.